Oh, hi everyone, hi students, I miss you guys. This is Shakar Salah from University of Sulaimani College of Nursing. Uh, this slides and this materials has been submitted as a compensation of the workload and the hours and the ECTS and the days that's been missed because of the coronavirus situation. And this materials are exclusive for first year students, College of Nursing, no other departments in any other places. This has been prepared by myself. Let's get started, guys. First thing, the outline, the scope of our study, the subject that we're going to cover today. The first thing, I'm going to give you an introduction about reading skill. What is reading skill? What are the let's say, what are the reasons for this study? What are the aims of this study, of these slides, of this work? And I'm gonna be giving you a definition of the reading, what is reading, and the components of reading, the types of reading, and two most important techniques of reading, skimming and scanning, and the differentiation between them. And I'm gonna give you a little practice that would be for you to do it on your own. And we're gonna make a quick review, quick revision, just to remember the most important points, the most important, the key elements, the key points. And finally, I'm gonna conclude the subject and sum up all the ideas and the most important information. Okay, so the introduction. Uh, so I think I know how to read, so why this? This is a common question. A lot of students may ask this question. A lot of people would say this, and this is a common mistake, because uh, when you say that I know how to read, it doesn't mean reading is only reading aloud. This is reading aloud. In English language, it's called reading aloud. When you can read, when you can say the words, this is reading aloud. But when you read, it doesn't mean reading aloud. It means you understand. It means comprehension skill. It means you understand and you can, find the keywords. You have some special strategies, important, some important strategies that you can do in reading skills while reading. Okay, and some tricks. Because you like the word tricks. And reading skill is a receptive skill. This is the second point. We have productive skills and receptive skills, guys. Receptive skill means you absorb, you receive, you get. Okay, so this is quite different from productive skills. Productive skills are those skills that you give. For example, when you write, this is productive skill. You produce, you give. But reading is a receptive skill. You receive, you get. This is an input. Anyway, next point. In this work, you're going to focus on the reading strategies. Guys, I'm told you we have some really important strategies while you're reading, and it would be very important for your future studies. So in the future, you may take some standard tests. Usually for those standard tests, you need these strategies. If you don't know these things, well, I'm afraid you are in big trouble and you cannot get a good result. Or even for university, even the teachers give you some, lectures, give you some page, some slides. So if you have some reading strategies, you're gonna be understanding them easier. And through these tricks, you can get your works done in a shorter time, guys. So that's why I'm telling you these things. Why we need to know these strategies? Just the things that I told you, for to get the works done in a shorter time, and to be able to do some tricks and to do the things in the right way. I'm telling you the tricks because I want you to do the things in the right way. Okay, and finally, this work is equipped with a practice that gives you the chance to assess yourself. Well, you need to practice, because if you don't practice, you don't know, to how much you're to how, what extent you've understood and you've got the points. what is reading? This is a, as I told you, many students may say reading is reading aloud, reading when I read a passage. No, reading is not only that, dear. Reading is something more than that. Okay, let's examine, let's discover what's reading. It is a cognitive process of decoding symbols to derive meaning from text, or getting out the message that has been put by the writer. Okay, so it says decoding. We guys, decoding symbols. It means when you have symbol is what? Symbol is letters. For example, I say the word door, D-O-O-R. So all of them are symbol. The word door is a symbol. You have to decode it. When you decode it, and you get the meaning, okay? And meaning is the picture of the door that's been created in your mind. And you open the door and you close it, and you say door is something that I use it to enter another place, to enter a room, to enter another hole, another place, anywhere. And the meaning together, all of the meaning together, they will make the writer's message. So some meanings together, the meaning of all the words together, it creates the message. The message that's been put by who? By the writer. So this is the definition of reading. So reading means understanding, comprehension. Okay, so you gotta understand. At that time you're reading. If you just read without understanding, this is not reading. Whenever we have reading, we have understanding. That's it. As in reading a book or reading a music. So reading music, music also has symbols. As I told you, the first line we have decoding symbols. So reading also have symbols, just like letters, just like ABCDs. Music also has the same thing. So it's also reading. If you read it and you understand the codes, the symbols of the music, that means you can read music. Okay, the components of reading. Well, first thing first, the first component is decoding. Decoding refers to the process of translating a printed word into sound. So, for example, I say the word university. For example, this word, University of Sulaimani. So, the word university, when you change the word, the written form, into sound, this is called decoding. Next one, comprehension. When you understand the word university, this is comprehension. This is comprehension. And when you understand it, or usually when you say the word and you understand it, usually the picture of it is created in your mind. Okay, for example, the picture of University of Sulaimani is going to be created in your mind, in your brain. Usually your brain does this without you noticing them. And usually the interaction between the words and the written form trigger a knowledge, okay, outside the text. So the things that you read create a knowledge that's outside the text, that's outside the message. For example, University of Sulaimani, you read it, the picture of University of Sulaimani is going to be created. Well, this happens if you have seen University of Sulaimani before reading this text. If you haven't, well, the picture, I'm afraid, it may not be created. So it's related to your background information, your background knowledge, but this is about comprehension. Comprehension means understanding. And retention. What's retention? Retention means the condition of retaining or keeping something. So whenever you read something, the information, the ideas is going to be kept in your mind, either in a short-term memory or long-term memory. So we say, for some people write diaries. So you write diary about your own experiences. For example, you say in 2018, for example, the 2nd of February I did that, the 4th of February I did that. So you write on the activities, the exercises, the experiences that you did at that day. So sometimes you go and read your diary and you're gonna remember what you've done. So to keep informations. Okay, so why your teachers giving you this? Why did your teachers giving you lectures and slides and many pages so that you can go home, you decode them, and then you comprehension, you understand all of them, and then to remember them. This is the last. This is the third point of reading. You say, "Oh, teacher, I read it." So when you say, "Teacher, I read it," so that means you understood and you remember that. You can mention some points of it. You are retaining it. You are maintaining it. Anyway, the types of reading we have: extensive reading. That's also called top-down, and intensive reading. That's also called bottom-up. Okay, extensive reading. What's extensive reading? I'm very curious. What's extensive reading? Extensive reading is carried out to achieve general understanding of a text. So when you read something, just to get general understanding, something general, overall idea, general information, general idea, the main idea, the theme. You're not reading for to get all the specific information, specific detail. You don't care about that. You just get the main thing. That's it. And the second thing, the aim of extensive reading is to build reader confidence and enjoyment. So it's for enjoying, guys. When a teacher in university giving you some page, giving you a lecture, this is not enjoyment. This is something else. But when you read a story at home, a Kurdish book, an English book, this is enjoyment. This is confidence. When you read a magazine, when you read a newspaper, when you read a novel at home, these are all extensive reading. And emphasizing what the reader brings to the text and saying by deriving the meaning. So you just care about the meaning. You don't go deep down to all the specific words, and it proceeds from whole to part. So from the general idea, you get the you go you go for the message, and you get the message, and that's it. You don't go more. Intensive reading. So what's intensive reading? Intensive reading is quite different from extensive. We call it careful reading or in-depth reading. So both names are, some sources may mention these names instead of intensive, and some sources may also say bottom up. Bottom up is also another name for intensive reading. You read for detail and extract specific information on a particular topic. So when you study for university, you have to look at the page and try to discover the meaning of every single vocabularies, every single words. If you don't understand every single word, you may not get the message clearly. You may not get you know good marks. So that's why you have to read intensive reading. If you do extensive reading just for enjoyment and just read it and understand it without getting extract of the specific information for all the detail, well, I'm afraid you may not get a good mark. So usually the subjects that you study in university, you gotta study in an intensive reading. So very, very deep. Anyway, emphasizing the written or printed text by saying reading is deriving from the process that results in meaning. So you just care about the meaning. You gotta take care of all the words one by one, all the single vocabularies. You gotta take care about them, and you have to take care about all the process that results in meaning. So you have to interpret. You have to conclude your own meaning. You have to take out some hidden meaning, some meanings that's underneath those sentences. Okay, so you gotta go deeper and proceeds from part to whole. This is the difference between this and the other one was saying whole to part, but this one says part to whole. So this one, you read the first paragraph, you read it very, very deep and very carefully, very in depth reading. Depth means deep. So deep deep reading for the first paragraph. This is a part. You go to the second paragraph. You read it in deep, all the words, all the vocabularies. You're gonna check dictionary for all of them. This is also another part. You go for the third paragraph. You read it part by part. So this is the third part. You go another. You cover all the parts, and then you get the whole message. But the other one, no, you weren't going so deep to all the detail and very specific information. You were just looking for the main theme and the main ideas without going to the detail. But here you go to the detail and you get the main as well. Okay, several techniques that, or we can say subtypes. In some resources, in some other sources, they say that scanning and skimming, and these are subtypes, or they say types, but I'm not saying types because we have intensive and extensive as types. But these are techniques and subtypes. And concerning your study, guys, we have scanning and skimming. As far as for scanning and skimming you are concerned, but exploratory reading, study reading, critical reading, and analytical reading, these subjects, guys, are not your concern. Usually English language studies will cover these materials, these points. But for you, I just brought you scanning and skimming. These are very important for you, and these are the only things that you are. Okay, so skimming. First point. What is skimming? Skimming in academics. This is your concern, guys. Skimming is a reading subskill in which a reader quickly goes through a text in order to get the gist. The word gist is very important. And general idea or information. So you just look for the most important, let's say general idea, general information, or the theme, and nothing else. And next, skimming refers to the process of reading only the main ideas. So you don't go for the detail, you don't go for the very specific information. You just read the the main ideas, the main very general ideas, the general information, or we say the gist, and that's it. Or quickly running one's eyes the whole text to get the gist. So you don't care, you don't give it a long time, guys. You just do it in a short time. For example, the studies, the things that you read for university, this is not skimming. But for example, you have an exam, the teacher says you have to answer the question in a limited short time. Okay, in a short limited time. For example, the teacher says 15 minutes. You have to answer all the question in 15 minutes. Well, I'm afraid you gotta be doing the skimming. If you don't do the skimming, you may not get a good result, I'm afraid. It gives reader the advantage of being able to predicate the purpose of the passage and the main topic. So you just take a quick glance and you take a quick look and you read it, and then you just look for the main topic and the main idea, and that's it. You don't go deep like the intensive reading. Okay, how to skim. First thing first, read the title. If you don't read the title, I'm afraid you may not be doing a good skimming. And read the introduction and the first paragraph. You have to read the introduction and the first paragraph because it's very important. This is introduction, guys. We've been studying introduction. In the introduction, the writer will define the terms, and it gives the reason why he's doing this study. So you get a lot of points, a lot of ideas, a lot of important general ideas about the work. And the first sentence of all the paragraphs. This is very important. So the first paragraph is called topic sentence. If you don't read the topic sentence of the paragraphs, I'm afraid you may not be having a clear idea, a clear general idea about the work. And read any headings and subheadings. For example, in newspaper reports, we've got this. And in other works, for example, in journals, we have graphs, we have charts, we have tables, we have pictures. These are very important. You have to be looking at them. If you are not looking at them, I'm afraid you're not doing a good skimming. Notice any italic, any word that's written in italic, or any word that's in bold, or a phrase that's in bold or italic. You gotta be taking a good look at them. And the summary or last paragraph. So last paragraph is going to conclude, to give you a sum up, a summary of the work. This is a activity, guys. Read the following passage quickly and answer the questions. Guys, please, I said 30 seconds. You gotta do it fast, and you have to do it in that time. So please do not deceive your. And here we have 4 questions and 4 answers. You have to put the answers in the right. What is scanning? Scanning is a reading technique that's used when you want to find specific information quickly. So the other one says we are reading to get the gist. We are just taking a quick glance and to get the gist, to get the main point, and nothing else. But now, no. You are doing the scanning to have when you have a question in your mind, and you have to read the passage to find the answer. And you have to ignore the unrelated information. So here, you're not reading to get the gist. You're not reading to get the general idea, the general information, the main ideas, or the theme. No. You are reading to get the very specific information. For example, it says a name. For example, it says, who was the person that caused the revolution, for example, that the war, who was the king of the war, or for example it says who was the king of the Greek, in the battle. So you have to read the passage just to take out the name of the king, so you don't care about the other information, so ignoring the unrelated information. And you have to keep saying the question in your mind. Okay, you have to the question, for example, is who's the king, who's the king of the war, who's the king? You're gonna repeat the question in your mind, and you look at the passage only to get the answer, only to find the answer. You don't look for any other information. Okay, and usually you have this in exams, guys. We have exams that are they give you a question and you have to look for it in a very quick way. If you don't be quick, so whenever a teacher gives you a homework, you gotta do it at home. This is not scanning. Scanning is when you have a short time, you have a very limited time, you have to act fast, you have to be quick and find the answer very quickly. Okay, sometimes scanning exercise may ask students to look for names and dates and to find definitions or the key concept or a list of numbers or supporting details. So usually in scanning you have to be, according to the information, you have to know what you will be doing. So you have to expect where you can find that piece of information. For example, it gives you for example, it says it asks you about a data. You gotta go and see the graphs, see the tables. Okay, look at you just go for the numbers. You don't care about the written parts. You have to be fast. This is how it works out. And the purpose of the extract certain specific without reading through the whole text. This is the same that I told you. Okay, how to scan. State the specific information you are looking for and try to anticipate how the answer will appear and what clues you might use to help you locate the answer. Guys, you have to be very wise and locate the answer. Okay, so for example, you have a question that's talking about the end of this. For example, it says who was the winner of the battle, of the fight, of the war. So you gotta go to last chapters, the last paragraphs, okay, to find the to find out who was the winner of the battle. For example, I'm just saying, in if you have a story like that. Okay, and you have to be looking for a certain date if the question is on a date, or so you have to read the paragraph looking for only the numbers. Okay, this is the tricks that I told you, guys. These are the strategies that you need to do, and use headings and other aids that will help you to identify which section you may contain that information that you are looking for, and selectively read and skip through the sections of the passage. So you are free which information you will pick, where you can search, where you go, but you have to be fast and you have to be smart which sections you will look for. No, act. Okay, so this one is a scanning. Guys, you have to do this in 30 seconds. Find these words in the paragraphs. Okay, steps for scanning. How do we do that? Look for the words, so the keywords and the words that are repeated a lot, many times. Look for definitions. Sometimes the teacher asks you about the definition. Where? You have to go for the introduction, I'm afraid. If you go for the introduction, there's 99 guarantee that you will find it there. Look for highlighted words and the words that are in bold or italic. Very important. Numbers and dates and statistics. Very important. The diagram, for example. Okay, so scanning helps. You use this technique when you are really in a hurry to find specific information from a text, using a dictionary, for example. Guys, for example, there's an English word that you don't understand. You open the dictionary. Do you really read page to page, I mean cover to cover, all the dictionary? Well, simply no. You just look at you search for your, single word, you find it, you get the meaning, you close the dictionary, and that's it. Let it go, okay? So, scanning is the same thing. Differences between skimming and scanning. In skimming, the reader goes through the text quickly and not noticing every word. Well, at this until now, until this part, they are the same. You are going through a text quickly, but from here the difference starts. Trying to get the main idea, but there, no, the specific information, and what the text is about. Sometimes it's calling getting the gist. So this is skimming. But scanning, no, involves searching for a particular piece of information, looking for a particular name or a particular number. Okay, so here is your time to practice. Guys, usually gap filling and some other multiple choice might be for the skimming, but for example those that says put the works in a chronological order, that one would be a bit different. Anyway, so for this practice, scan the article carefully and answer the questions given in the end. You have 30 seconds. Do not cheat, do not deceive yourself. You've got 30 seconds. Read this, answer the questions. A, B, C, D, choose. This has been the correct answer chose to you. Okay, so here's the review. What is reading? Reading is to look at carefully so as to understand the meaning, something that's written. Okay, the components, we said that we have decoding, comprehension, and retention. And then comprehension reading. What's comprehension reading? The process simultaneously extracting and constructing meaning. So when you get meaning through interaction and involvement of the written language with the written language. So you involve your own background information. Okay, like what? Like For example, just like the example that I told you about University of Sulaimani, you mention the name, and the information will be triggered in your mind. The knowledge will be triggered, and the picture of the university will be created in your mind. This is comprehension reading. Intensive reading involves learners reading in detail with specific learning aims and tasks. So they just look for specific points and specific information, and you will go only to get that. But comprehension reading, no. You read for understanding. But here, no. You don't. If you don't understand the text, what is it about? It still doesn't matter, because that's not your concern. In skimming and scanning, you don't look for the meaning. You just look for the the information that you need, that you are looking for. An intensive reading usually is, when you read the text for enjoyment and to develop general reading skill. And the example is when the reader read the text and events from it into onto chronologically. Well, this is an example of um, skimming. Yeah, when you skim, you get the gist and the main idea, so you know that this event has happened at the beginning or in the second or the third or what. So you give them chronological order. Chronological order, it means when the things come in the right order: first, second, third, fourth. Okay, for example, talking about a recipe. For example, you want to create or you want to prepare an omelette. Omelette means helkauron. You want to prepare helkauron. So what do? The omelette, first thing for the omelette, you have to bring some oil and put it in a pan and heat it and break the egg onto it. And after some time, it's ready. So you cannot say, uh, you know, heat it and then bring a pan and, put some oil in it. So you see, chronological order. Finally, the summary and conclusion. So in the classroom, this is a very important information for you guys. In the classroom, intensive reading activities include skimming a text for specific information, really usually for true false questions. You will get this in the exams, or gap filling in a summary. And but what about scanning? Scanning, when you say match the headlines or the headings with the paragraphs, it gives you, so you match the topics with the paragraphs. So you say which topic goes to which paragraph, or scanning jumbled paragraphs and then loading them carefully to put them in the correct order. This is like the omelette that I talked about. This is also can be done in a, jumbled means mingled, it mixed. That means that's not in the correct order. That's mean not chronologically, in the right order. Okay, the conclusion. We learn that reading is not only reading for pleasure, but it's rather more complicated concept, and it should be done or followed carefully through those tricks and strategies that we covered in this work. So now you know that reading is not only reading aloud, is not only reading a story. Reading can be sometimes very tricky, and there are some tricks and some strategies that are very important while reading, especially during exams and during tests. For example, the standard in those standard tests that you take, guys, you have to act really fast, and you have to do skimming, you have to do scanning, you have to do them all in the same time, simultaneously. You have to use those tricks and use your knowledge and use the clues and go and find the specific information that you are looking for in the right time. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm sorry it took too long. I'm really sorry, but again, I miss you guys. I wish that we could be together in the class, but it's okay. This is a good thing that we are doing to compensate that. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Peace out.